Hey, come on down! We're having a hog of a time here on the only pig-centric video game show on the web. So why don't you dive on into the slop and embrace the pig within? It's a little something we like to call tradition. Ever since our foundation in 1929, when Papa Lyle Rath famously said,
"The pig episode is the key, Redeemer. You know the draw of the hog cannot be denied. The million eyes that stare from beyond are children hungry for pig-based content. Your path is clear. Now go."
So get your curly little tail down here and pig off with us. Catch a pig, name a pig, race a pig, call a pig, all the pig-related activities. You can see the intelligence in them. They're not too different from you or I. So what are you waiting for? I'm Lyle Rath, and this here's Pregame Pigcharge, the only video game show where
the whole thing's not like this, I promise. The Witcher 3 had a trailer and a live stream detailing some of the new features for its free next-gen update coming December 14th. In addition to the obvious little graphical and performance improvements, ray tracing, etc. that you'd expect from a next-gen update, there's also some little optional bells and whistles you can turn on. The new closer-up camera is the thing I thought was the coolest, but you also got a left stick sprint, a quick cast system that lets you use signs by holding down the right trigger and pressing a button instead of the old wheel menu, and apparently a lot of developers got to go in and fix their little pet peeve issues with the game, which I'm sure was cathartic. There's also a new side quest added to unlock Geralt's Netflix armor, and yeah, for free? Can you really complain? Well, can you? Leave your complaints in the comments down below. Doesn't even have to be about The Witcher. You can just complain about anything. Go ahead. The Mario got a new trailer where we finally get to hear Chris Pratt say the Mario's signature catchphrase.
Get it up, get it up, get it up!
The movie looks fine, good even. Peach and Luigi are not video game accurate either, they just work a little better for whatever reason. Look, maybe you just trust that Illumination knows what they're doing, alright? They made the Minions. Mario's gonna floss. Nintendo did a big Indie World showcase, and no, they didn't show Hollow Knight Silk Song, or I would have started this segment with They did show some nice looking stuff though. There's Pepper Grinder, a fast-paced side-scroller where you get to drill sweet frickin' tunnels. Oni, Road to Be the Mightiest Oni, where you play as a little demon who gets bullied by a big demon and then travels the world becoming stronger to beat his ass. Coffee Talk 2, which is like VAT 11 Hala, but you serve sweet baby caffeine instead of demonic alcohol, most foul. Blanc, a black and white game about animals being friends that my girlfriend shrieked at, which is usually how I gauge if something is cute or not. Botany Manor, where you get to explore some billionaire pervert's mansion. Sports Story, which was looking like it was just a collection of sports mini games, and then halfway through the trailer it takes a weird left turn and just becomes something else entirely. Once Upon a Jester, where you learn that it's not so easy, is it? Akka, which is a little animal farming crafting game that I guess didn't get its submission in alongside the 72 of those that Nintendo announced last time. A Space for the Unbound and Goodbye World, which both look like walk around and talk to stuff kind of games with nice pixel art. Desta, The Memories Between, where you dream about playing cartoon XCOM dodgeball. Venbo, where you cook shit. A Little to the Left, where you organize shit. And as always with these, Switch ports of a bunch of stuff that's already been out for a while, which is fine. Don't yell at it. Control 2 is happening! Of course, if you beat Control 1, you would already know that. Maybe. I didn't beat it, and when I did play of it, I didn't understand. It was great. Anyway, they said Control 2 and then left. Ghostrunner 2 also said Ghostrunner 2 and concept arted on the floor and then left. Mass Effect 4 though is also probably a thing, I think. Since it was Mass Effect's giving or whatever, BioWare released a video clip of a ship and some voiceover. It's not much, but it's pretty much the only thing we've seen of a new Mass Effect game since the little teaser in 2020, where Bluina goes digging through the snow for an ancient end pass that's good for 7 of them. That's like finding a 50-cent coin or a $2 bill or something. She shouldn't spend that. The first 2 Zeno Clash games scratch a very specific itch for me. They're weird first-person games where you get to beat the living shit out of fucked up looking mutants, and it's crunchy, juicy, and satisfying. I bring this up because there's a new Zeno Clash game, this time just called Clash Artifacts of Chaos, coming out in February. It's got a new art style, new protagonist, a third-person perspective, and looks like it incorporates some Souls-like elements. They had a limited time demo for a while. I didn't get to play it. You can't either, but you can see a good amount of what it's about. And as long as it's still about freakos and hitting, I am totally down. That's like my fifth and third favorite things. In news, the development of Risk of Rain is being handled by Gearbox now. Now, Gearbox has always been the publisher of Risk of Rain, but it was made by Ho-Poo Games. I'm sure that's how it's pronounced. Who probably will go on to do bigger and better things. Meanwhile, Gearbox... okay, earlier this year we did a story about Embracer Group, a giant media conglomerate that owns like pretty much every third-party video game company that Tencent doesn't at this point. Meaning anytime the company rolls around to get comfortable, it affects a bunch of different franchises. So to tie it back, in addition to Risk of Rain, Volition is also becoming part of Gearbox. Eidos shut down its mobile gaming division and publishing QA teams. Dead Island 2 got delayed into April. There's a mystery 6-year deal with, quote, several industry partners involving multiple large games, which may or may not be Microsoft based on some other rumors. And by 2026, they're expecting to be responsible for 234 PC and console releases, all of which can be thrown into limbo if the wrong quarterly earnings report shows up. So enjoy that, gamers. Were you gonna buy a PS5 for Final Fantasy 16? Well, maybe, don't? Yeah, maybe, What I'm trying to say is this was originally announced as a PS5 exclusive, but that's only the case for like 6 months. So maybe, there's a new Sponge Robert game coming called The Cosmic Shake. And while I don't expect it not to be a mediocre game for babies, it doesn't look as lazy as tie-in games usually do. Why is Smurf's card up here? Don't you dare disrespect the Citizen Kane of gaming! But yeah, if you know or are a baby or just feel nostalgic for the Bob, you could probably do worse. The PC Gaming Show had a 2023 preview live stream. I'm not gonna go over all of it, no disrespect to the deep cuts, but a lot of it was just Steam descriptions read over trailers we've already seen, and fuck if I know what obscure top-down RTS is a sequel to the one you played when you were 6. But some highlights for me were Ravenbound, an open-world action game that I think we've probably seen a logo for before or something. Gory Cuddly Carnage, a game where you play as a cat on a skateboard that shreds up monsters like a lawnmower. Level 0, which is some kind of space scary. Once Human, which is a different kind of space scary. Moon Mystery, where it's finally time to stop being scared of space and start asking the real questions. Motherfucker hatches. Motherfucker made of cheese. And a High on Life trailer that's actually a lot more gameplay focused. It looks like it actually has some genuine chops as a shooter underneath all the silly haha Rick and Morty stammering. Blight Survival got a gameplay reveal trailer. It looks like a melee focused action game where you play as a knight and night fight medieval zombies. Also, apparently it's got 4-player co-op. We don't see it, but it says so on the Steam page. And the combat doesn't look half bad, so might be one to keep your eye on. Hey, you know how the Doom Eternal soundtrack kinda sucks compared to the 2016 one? Well, that's not Mick Gordon's fault. Drama time! Wee-oo! A while back, Marty Stratton, the game's director, made a big Reddit post painting Mick Gordon as unreliable and difficult to work with. But now, Mick Gordon has responded with a giant, comprehensive document full of receipts that outline how Bethesda jerked him around, overworked him, used unfinished music they didn't pay for, and awkwardly stitched together and remixed old tracks without his permission, leading to a final result that kinda sucks compared to the soundtrack for Doom 2016. If you want to read the whole thing, I'll link it down below along with the original Reddit post it's responding to. Bethesda has also responded to the post essentially saying, nah-uh. To be fair, reading both accounts, the events don't necessarily contradict much. A lot of the things in Marty's initial burn post did happen, they just lack a lot of crucial context. And while Marty would have had to have known about some of the things he left out due to being directly involved in them, it's entirely possible that he wasn't aware of of all of it. Game directors working for major publishers might not regularly be in direct communication with payroll, for example. End of the day, though, the result is that Mick Gordon wasn't treated right and his professional reputation was dragged through the mud, which fucking sucks whole, especially considering how much of a defining feature of the games his soundtrack was. I mean, his presentation at GDC is like one of my favorite production stories. The whole thing's just a dick sandwich, man. A dick salad sandwich. That's where you chop up the dick. Project the Perceiver is a game that will definitely change its name at some point. It's also a Chinese open world game that gives off some Sekiro vibes, and I'm kind of feeling it, okay? You always tell me to feel it, and then when I do, you never let me. God, I hate you. It's got a 7-minute debut trailer that just goes crazy at the end. It just goes crazy. Anyway, here are the game releases for the month. I'm Lyle Rath, and this has been Pregame Discharge. If you liked it, maybe kick us $1 or $2 on Patreon. It helps us make the show every month and some funny cartoons in between. We did a God of War one. Did you see the God of War one? Go tell me what you think of it. Yell at me even. You think I'm scared of you?